We have a new addition to Attacking Thirds roster. We are so pleased to welcome former defender, former national champion with UNC in 2012, played with Liverpool, Bristol City, Sheffield United, played in NWSL with Houston Dash and Racing Louisville, and former Jamaican international Satara Murray. Welcome to Attacking Third. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited, really excited for this conversation.
Yeah, we're thrilled. We're thrilled to have you again, Jen. I'm always thrilled to be alongside you. I feel like it's been a minute, but it also hasn't been a minute. Because I feel like when you and I hop on together, it's just like we just hop right back into it.
Yeah, I feel like we're rolling now. I joked off there that I feel like we're best friends, but I wasn't actually joking. We built up a rapport. I love doing the show with you, mate. I'm happy to be back. And welcome, Satara. I'm so excited you're joining the team. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get into this a little bit. Let's all become real acquainted. Let's all get friendly. We want to make sure that the folks know more about you, Satara, who you are, what you've done in the sport, what you're getting up to now, kind of post game. As far as let's just start maybe in the beginning. Like, what were the things that made you fall in love with soccer, and what sort of led you to becoming a former pro player?
I think when I first started off when I was 5, and because I was born in New York, but then I grew up in Austin, and when I moved over to New York, I didn't know what soccer was. My parents introduced it to me, and I thought, oh, okay, this sounds fun, like it's cool, and it ended, I put a very long story short, it ended up becoming one of the most amazing things to happen to me in my life. And I think it was probably around 10, 11 when I think my mom had kind of recognized that I was actually a really good player. And, and I think she saw something in me that maybe I didn't see in myself at the time. And then, obviously as you get into it, the club level, you're going to all these tournaments, these showcases, what have you. The recruiting process starts happening, and being from Texas, everybody's about UT, Texas A&M. And so I wanted to go to A&M. I was so adamant about going because it's only an hour and 40 from Austin. Like, I'm a mama's girl. So, I wanted to be close to my mom's, and I have an older sister, and she was going to Prairie View A&M, which wasn't too far from College Station. So I thought, I'll go to A&M. So close to committing. And then my mom gets a phone call from my club coach saying, North Carolina is interested in recruiting Satara. Y'all should probably go out there and, and go look at the campus, go have a chat with Anson. And we did. I loved it. I stepped on foot on campus and I thought, yeah, this is it. I could see myself here for 4 years. So I ended up going there, and it was the best decision I could have ever made. On top of obviously like the prestigious program playing under Anson Dorrance and, Palladino, I wanted to get a really good education as well. And, UNC is a really good school. And, I thought kill 2 birds with 1 stone, become a natty champion, get a good education, and, and go from there. Now the professional side of it, because obviously, professional soccer here in America, back in 2011, 2012, these leagues would come to the States and then they would fold, a bit shaky. So I wasn't really pressed on becoming a pro. And I just wanted to go to school, play soccer, get my education, crack on. Like that was kind of the plan. And then the inception of the NWSL came aboard in 2013. And I think I was going into my junior year, and I still wasn't too sure about it. And then Anson, we had a chat, and I have dual citizenship through my mom because she's English. And he said, how about going over to England? The Women's Super League, they had a little bit of, grit to them, a little bit of meat to them. And he went over there, he kind of scouted what the style was. And he thought, I could go out there and play. And, after I left, my last season at UNC was 2014, packed up all my stuff, took my finals, and then took a flight over to England and played at Liverpool for 4.5 years. So it's crazy, like where the sport can take you. I did not think I would be, I didn't think majority of my career would be in England, but once I got there, I just loved it, and I had a really good time. And I have no regrets about this career. It was amazing.
I think one of the biggest things in my experience anyway, it's such a relentless sport, right? It's a relentless job. And then when you retire, that's like your moment where you look back and you take a breath, right? And you're
right.
Whoa, that was amazing. Mm-hmm. Whoa, that was really hard. okay, I learned so much from that? What were your kind of like standout moments? I think it's when you retire, you finally look back, right?
Yeah.
What were your standout moments? What did you learn from the most? What were your hard points? You know, there's so many along the way.
There's, you know, it's funny. I'm glad that you asked that, because I think honestly, I've only been in retirement now for 3 months, so I'm like still a baby to it. But there's so much that I've reflected on over the last 3 months, if I'm being honest. And I think I used to kind of, you know, base my career and the success on it on status, you know, money, power, whatever the case may be. And now that I'm removed from it and I'm not playing, I'm so proud of my career. You know, I think I put too much on myself to be more than what it actually was or what it needed to be, if that makes sense. Like, I think I used to think my career was a failure because I didn't, you know, go to the World Cup, or I didn't win a Champions League title or a NWSL title or a Super League title, you know, and, you know, I didn't have 10,000 followers, or I didn't have all this money. And I think I based it off of that. But now that I am in my retirement mode, I'm out here cooling it, having a good time. I'm like, you know what, girl, you are in a less than 1%, you know, population that got the sport and at a professional level. So many people wish they could be in that position, and you got a chance to do it for 10 years. So I offer myself a lot more grace, a lot more, and I approach my career now with a lot more gratitude. I'm so grateful for not just like the opportunities that came along with, you know, playing football, but the people that I met along the way. Like, that was the best part of it. Just, you know, some of my best friends I met through football, and I've got a chance just to, you know, travel the world, see amazing places that I probably wouldn't have gotten a chance to see had I not played football. You know what I'm saying? So I think now that I've taken a step back, I'm reflecting on it. I'm like, you know what, girl, you had a great career and you had a really good time doing it. And I'm still going to be very involved with football, regardless of whatever it is I get into next. And, you know, I could step away from it, but you can never take it out of me. And that's where I'm at right now. So that's, I think, some of the biggest things that I've taken away from it, for sure.
I love that, man. I'm just so like, I'm just sitting here taking it all in, soaking it all in. It's a great perspective that you have. Cause like, also like, if you allow me to, like, I kind of want to like, gas you up a little bit, because you had a great career. Like you said, that you framed it like you're in the rare, you know, species of just like that 1%. Right. Like, not everyone gets to have a professional career.
Right.
And not only that, like, you played at the highest level, which is like at an international level for the Jamaican women's national team. Right. And I always like emphasize that a little bit, because look, we're in the space where we're putting our face on camera and we're saying things, so people will maybe say things back. And I've definitely had my share of, you know, Johnny 123 telling me that he's played in the highest level, and it's like, you know, D3 private Christian university or something like that. Like, right. You know, and I'm just like, I think our opinion of like highest level is a little bit different. And for me, it is being able to, you know, get on that pitch, right, and see players represent their nations at the highest level when you're talking best of the best of the best. So, right. I mean, I love that maybe stepping away from the pitch has given you the opportunity for sure to thank yourself a little bit, because you had such an awesome career. I mentioned the Jamaican national team. Let's maybe get into that a little bit. Let's talk about some of your playing internationally for Jamaica. What's it meant to represent Jamaica on the international stage? You know, tapping into your heritage. And also what's come along with that in terms of what you've had to learn with, you know, with the good and the bad experiences.
Yeah, I mean, when my first call up with Jamaica, I kind of was a bit hesitant with it. Obviously, my dad's Jamaican, and I don't have like the greatest relationship with my father. So, and I didn't really grow up with him. So that Jamaican side of my family, I didn't really grow up with much. So I think stepping, in with Jamaica, for me, was learning more about that side of my family, learning that Jamaican side that I didn't really get a chance to really develop, as I was growing up. So that part of it was so important for me. And I'm so grateful that I got a chance to experience it, when I did. Now, obviously, like anything, you take the good with the bad, and I had my moments with Jamaica. Excuse me. I loved it at times. I did not like it at times. I'll be very blunt about that. When you get to that international level, it's a whole different ball game compared to your club level. I mean, Jen, you probably know that as well. It's just a completely different step. And, you know, you're playing with the best of the best. And, you know, I'm playing with the likes of people like the Swabies, you know, Allison and Chantel, you know, Bunny Shaw, Drew Spence, Becky Spencer. And so, you know, I'm playing with these girls who are like elite level, you know, and sometimes I did have a bit of imposter syndrome thinking, man, do I really belong here? Is this, you know, this is really where I'm supposed to be? But as I kind of started to kind of get my footing in and, you know, going into more camps with them, I started to feel a little bit more comfortable. Now, obviously, I think it was a bit tumultuous. You know, I did have times where I didn't want to be at those camps because sometimes I felt very alone. I think in terms of, I don't know if I really blended in with the culture that they were trying to build. Not entirely too sure. I think I'm still trying to reflect on that, you know, post playing. But I think the overall experience was pretty good. And again, I got a chance to, you know, experience the international level, playing in the CONCACAF championships, you know, playing against the likes of, you know, the US and Canada and Haiti and doing really well. I had an opportunity, you know, to potentially go to the World Cup back in 23. I asked not to be considered for the roster, you know, probably, you know, don't want to get too much into that, but it's just, I didn't really see myself, you know, going all the way to Australia and being in an environment like that for as long as, you know, for 6-7 weeks. It was just a lot. And from my mental health standpoint, I needed to put myself first, and that's exactly what I did. But to help, you know, to be a part of helping the girls get to the World Cup, to me, that was an honor. And I would forever be, you know, so proud of being in a position to be a part of that. That was incredible. But, you know, I'm thankful to have gotten a chance to play at the international level, you know, because not many people, you know, not a lot of people get a chance to do that. And the fact that I was able to do that for the better part of almost 3 years was amazing. So, you know, I'm still reflecting on it. I'm still processing that side of it, you know, but it was amazing. And, you know, getting a chance to go to like the places like Canada, not Canada, Australia. And, you know, I had never been there. We went there for a camp, and I was like, wow, you know, getting the chance to experience going to Sydney and, you know, playing against the likes like Spain, Czech Republic, Australia. It was incredible. So I take the good with the bad, you know, just like we all do, and you know, and just have fun with it. But I'm honored, you know, it's an honor to play for your country, and, you know, and like I said, getting a chance to understand that side of my family, getting that side to, you know, get a little bit of a deeper understanding from my Jamaican roots. That for me was what was really important, and I'm glad I got the chance to do it.
No, nice. If you're joining us live, you see some images of repping reggae girls. Love that.
Yeah, so it was cool.
No, I think you know what, you articulate that so well, and I think everyone has good and bad experiences, but ultimately it's experience, and we all learn so much from it.
Exactly.
Talking of experiences, though, you mentioned earlier that you went into retirement and you're chilling. I saw you at TST. You were in. Yeah, that's not.
I was vibing out there. Let me tell you, like,
yeah, I'd love to hear about your experience and what you loved about it, because for me,
like,
that's the absolute best experience.
Right, and likewise, I'd love to hear about yours as well. I mean, that was my first time going to TST. Obviously, I know in terms of like their inception of the women's side of it, only like 2-3 years old. I went, you know, I played with the Drunken Monkeys. Shout out to them. And it was a great experience. Like, I went into it not really having any expectation. I don't know why. I think because I had just retired from playing, and I don't think I got a chance to really like process my career, my professional playing career. And so my mom is like sending me off, and she's like, have fun, like just go do your thing. I'm like, Mom, like leave me alone. Like I'm not going in there with any expectation. Yeah. And then I go and I'm like, yo, this is really dope, you know, like, and I've never played sevens like that before. You know what I mean? I'm an 11s player. Like that's all I've done. We've done that our entire life for the most part. So I'm going, and the rules and the rules, regulations, everything is so different. And we, like the Drunken Monkeys, we got out there like a week before the tournament had started to get some reps in, kind of build a rapport with one another, because for the most part, that was a lot of our first times playing with one another. And for the most part, that was majority of our first time playing 7v7. So it was new. So they wanted us to go out there and kind of build a rapport with one another. And, we went out there and we did our thing. It was so fun to be a part of. I mean, I wish we had one. Congratulations, Jen. Y'all did awesome. But it was so cool. And I definitely want to go back again next year. So yeah. But what was your experience like?
Oh, unbelievable. I still joke around to this day. I don't know how I snuck onto the team as a on US women, but it was unbelievable and so different, like what you said, to 11s. But for me, I'd been out of the game 6 months, so to go and have that sort of locker room experience with just like legends of the game was amazing. But no complaints whatsoever. So and winning's always fun. So.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a great time. I had a really good time.
Yeah,
I love it. Just listening to the two of you talk about it, I'm just I can't wait for TST already to come back. Every time we've chatted about TST in some capacity on this show, it's always like how much fun it was, the difference in play and the different roles. We love that. Real quick before we take a break. Everyone is loving your story in the chat, Satara. People are tapping in. They're welcoming you. They're saying, like, it's so great for you to be here. This is an incredible way to learn from you. There is a quick question that we want to take. It's from E. Charles Sneed. Satara, any chance you will try coaching?
I mean, there may be something on the way. I didn't really know if coaching was the route that I wanted to go, in terms of, that's exactly what I wanted to do right after playing. My passion is in storytelling, the media side of sports, especially hearing women's stories within sports, whether that's soccer, basketball, etc. But now I'm recognizing that I have a lot to offer, and I would love to help kids, from all ages, understand that soccer is an incredible sport. It's an incredible space to express yourself. It's a chance to be a little bit free. So yeah, I might dabble in coaching. I think it might be something that might be my calling, something that I didn't think was my calling, but I always say God has a plan. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing if that is something that I could potentially pursue. So we'll see.
Great question then from me, Charles Sneed. I love it. We're so happy you're here with us